Scheduled meeting of the Waterville City Council. There are agendas available in the file pockets near the entrance or online on the City of Waterville's website. All items appearing on the consent agenda are voted on in one motion vote. Generally, these items are routine in nature and do not require discussion. All items listed under unfinished business or new business are voted on separately. First, councilors will be given an opportunity for questions or comments. Once councilors have had an opportunity to speak, citizens will be given an opportunity for comments or questions. Citizens must speak at the podium and identify themselves. Each citizen will be allowed one opportunity to speak and be limited to 3 minutes. Finally, councilors will be given another opportunity to speak or comment. Citizens who would like to speak on a topic that does not appear on tonight's agenda will have an opportunity to do so at the end of the meeting under the public comments section. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can't listen to you. Disclosure of conflict of interest.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I do. Where Butler came to the table again, you know, let me see, ordinance, resolution 75. Planning, referral to the planning board.
It wasn't an issue weeks ago. I think we're going to be good now.
If I don't bring it up, it'll be brought up later in my life,
Yep.
so I'm bringing
Everybody
it up
else?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
No
All
conflict.
right, moving on. I'm going to go with the Waterville Police Department's presentation. Chief Massey. Oh,
Are we? Yeah, go ahead. So this is a very exciting initiative between the council and, it was my idea, I guess, and I brought it to Chief Massey and Superintendent Haley to do a public safety promotion amongst the schools to educate people about safe storage of firearms. Last year, well, since the pandemic, we've had a spike in firearm sales, and so there are more firearms in the home, many of them with first-time gun buyers who may not understand how to store their firearms safely, and we've had a spike in unintentional shootings, particularly of children. So we worked together to come up with some information to share with all the children in this Waterville School District and their parents as to how to safely store firearms. It's important to have a cable lock, and we have cable locks for anyone who needs one at the police department. And there's a brochure that Chief Massey put together that presents some tips and facts about keeping your family safe. So those are going to every child in the Waterville School District. And we made this stunning video that we're going to play for you and that shares a little bit more about why we thought this was important. So I'd really like to thank Chief Massey and Superintendent Haley for working on this together. It'll be, I think, a great benefit for our community, and as I'll steal Eric Haley's thunder and say, if we can save one child or one family from having an accident, then it's been most definitely worth it.
Hello, Waterville. We're pleased to present this video on gun safety to keep firearms out of the hands of children. Children playing with guns is one of the most common circumstances for unintentional firearms death of the children. is very concerning for us as we not only look around the state but the country and see how many children each year are either injured or killed because they had access to firearms in the home. And that's why it's important for us to present this video to our community to provide you with some safety tips, some gun safety tips, to make sure that children do not access firearms in the home. Unfortunately, again, we see all too often where a child ends up playing with a firearm because they were able to access it, it wasn't stored properly, and there are serious consequences for that. So I have partnered with a school superintendent, Eric Haley, and Waterville Council Chairperson, Rebecca Green, to help develop this gun safety program that we're presenting to you right now. Also, we were able to partner with the Maine Gun Safety Coalition. They are the ones that actually provided the gun locks, which we'll explain to in just a moment. But the Waterville Police Department will have some gun locks to hand out to anyone free who would want a gun lock. One of the ways we're going to help distribute these safety tips throughout our community is, again, partnering with the school system. And we've created some pamphlets that have many gun safety tips for gun owners in the home that will provide you with tips about gun storage, gun safety, and also explain Maine law. And that's very important that Maine law requires gun owners to secure their firearms so that children do not have access to them without parental supervision. So again, we're hopeful that this short video presentation about gun safety and gun tips for homeowners, particularly if you have children, will be very helpful in preventing deaths and injuries to children. So again, we will have these pamphlets, and again, anyone who would like a free gun lock would certainly be able to call or stop into the police department who will provide you with the gun locks. At this time, I'd like to have Superintendent Eric Haley give you just an overview of how the school is going to distribute these pamphlets to the school children to bring home to share with their parents.
Thank you, Chief, and hello, Waterville as well. I can't tell you how excited I am about this program. I grew up in Maine, and I think almost everybody that grew up in Maine has been around guns, firearms. And in my house, my father taught me gun safety from an early age and felt very comfortable with me handling guns. But he also knew that I brought friends to the house, and those friends weren't necessarily. So whether you think you're safe, your children are safe with guns that are available in your house, think again. Please take the advice of the Chief and Councilwoman Rebecca Green, who's going to speak next, in regards to what we can do to help save children. Think about it. If we only save one child in the city of Waterville, all of what we're doing will be well worth it. And with that, I turn it over to Councilwoman Rebecca Green.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Haley and Chief Massey, and hello, Waterville. I'm so pleased that this program is coming to you because this is a growing issue with gun sales rising and people being home more. 1 in 3 families is estimated to have a gun at home, and many people have taught their children gun safety, but the reality is that children are very curious. And while you may think that a gun is out of reach of your child, apparently 75% of children know where guns are in their home. And you never know the circumstances that might lead to them finding that gun and discharging it and resulting in a tragedy. So this is really just about education, about understanding the steps that you can take to keep your children and families safe, as well as the friends of your children who may visit your home. And so look for this lovely brochure that's going to be sent home through your schools, and pick up a cable lock if you need one. Use a lockbox. Make sure that your gun is safe and secure, and will prevent kids from getting hurt. Thank you.
I'd like to conclude by saying for all of you that click on this video, thank you very much. I hope we provided you with some very helpful, important gun safety tips to make sure that, again, children don't have access to firearms. So thank you, Waterville. Please don't forget that we have those gun locks available for you, and please look for your children to bring home some of these pamphlets in the very near future. And please take a moment to read it. Again, very helpful information here, including Maine law, which requires people to secure their weapons. So you don't want to violate the law, and want to keep our children safe. So thank you very much, and from all of us, we appreciate it. Stay safe. Thank you.
That was our presentation, and we were excited to roll this program out last week. And as Councilor Green said, if we can save one child, it's certainly going to be worth it. So it's just simple tips that anyone can take a look at. The law is also included in the pamphlet, along with how you should properly secure the locks to your weapons. So again, good information, and hopefully, again, that'll increase the safety in the home and prevent children from being hurt. So I want to thank both Councilor Green and Eric Haley for working with this program and with me so that we could roll it out. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say one more thing about the law that was referenced. This is LD 759, and it was just passed last year, which was part of the reason that I thought it was important to get the word out. And that makes it, it includes the failure to safely store a firearm as under the child endangerment laws. So again, we don't want to see anyone get hurt. We don't want to see anyone get charged through an accident like this. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to move on to manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. My first item of report is on a personal note. My family and I have finally moved all of our belongings to Waterville. Our house is sold in Massachusetts, and we are now Waterville residents only. And happy, happy, happy to be here. Beyond that, I'd like to report that the Growth Council has hired the Waterville dedicated person. He is currently an employee of KV Cog. His name is Gabe Govin, and he's about 7 feet tall. And he has a very positive attitude and a good background to take on the job that we want him to do, promoting Waterville as a place to locate your business and a place to work from.
All right.
I'll reserve other comments for later.
Steve, welcome to Ward 5.
Thank you, Rick.
Best ward in Waterville. I might be a little biased, though.
I mean, I do live there.
This isn't about you. This is about him in Ward 5.
Well, you know, I was offered a challenge. I had to find a place to live where there were 2 elected officials.
Here we are.
I did it.
All right, I'll give him that.
I mean,
All
I
right.
got you.
I see 2 handicaps going against you.
So, Mulberry Lane, I want to start bringing this just into commentary. Where are we at with that?
Mulberry Lane has been an interesting project. Councilor Foss came to me and wanted to know what we had to do in order to extend Mulberry Lane as a paved street to pass across the front yards of 3 houses at the end of Mulberry Lane that are on a dirt road right now. We've looked into it. City engineer Andy McPherson has been very, very helpful, as has Public Works Director Matt Skane, in working out cost estimates, and our city solicitor has been extremely helpful in helping us find a way to weave our way through this pretty intricate process. As it stands, in order for the city to spend money on extending this road, the city has to own the property. Right now, the city does not. The property is owned by the abutters. So, city engineer has been asked to reach out to the abutters and see if they're willing to gift that portion of their property that would be enough room for the road to be constructed through to the city. And at that point, we can go about building a road, which about 6 or 7 months ago was estimated to cost a little under $40,000. What it would cost at this point, given the price of oil, et cetera.
Yeah. Okay. So the real back history is one owner owned the entire parcel and then subdivided the other 2 parcels out, and then just continued their driveway down through and blah, blah, blah. And this is where we're at, is there's just a driveway on top of lawns, and they've been paying full taxes the entire time that they've lived there for a couple of decades, if I remember right. They've been, those residents have been there for a while. We've even got a drilled well on one of them without city water. So, and the reason I'm bringing this onto the council notes per se is that after I'm gone, I don't see it coming to an end, before I'm gone. But these folks, just like any other street, deserve tarred roads and plowing and all that. So I want to start getting this on the record and make sure that we have at least a step forward every time that we talk, even if it's a little step. So.
You do mean after you move to Winslow?
That's correct.
Okay.
Hole in the ground.
He wants us to badger the next Ward 5, so we
Yes.
need to get them.
So, as Councilor Frost indicated, I expect this is going to come back around if we can line up all the proper parties in agreement. We'll have to install drainage as well as pavement, and I'll probably do some base work on the road also. It's in good condition. It just isn't paved.
All right. Anybody else? All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Patty, can you get a roll call?
Counselor Morris,
Yes.
Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
We're all in the same room.
I know. Isn't that right?
Counselor
We don't need a roll call.
Oh,
Oh, that's right, we don't need a
We're
roll
in
No,
the
we
same
don't.
room.
It's You're
On certain
right.
items, we don't need a roll call on certain items.
I do need a show of hands, though.
can we get a This is your only time, Bob. There's no reason. All right. Moving on to old business, 33-2022.
Make a motion, we read the entire agenda by title only.
Second.
All in favor? Wow,
Patty's
that's been
like,
a
I sort-
long
isn't
time.
it so
That has
nice?
been a long time.
Patty's like, I sort of like this.
I don't even remember.
Out of ink tonight, Patty.
All right. Resolution 33, 2022, establish our Waterville Historic Preservation Committee.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Counselor Foss.
I'm going to make an amendment that we strike the hours of operation. The way I read this, we have hours of operation in this resolution. On the very last page, number 5, hours of operation restricted between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. And I'm all for the committee and getting this rolling, but hours of operation I think is it should be something that we look at a case by case. The way I look at the list, if we were to apply that, we'd also have to apply it to the Opera House. And I don't think that's going to be favorable to them, but for the committee purposes, I'd like to see it struck out of that.
Good.
Right, so I don't think.
But that's an amendment, so I do need a second on that.
Second.
It's not
Thank you.
actually, well, it's not actually in the resolution. It's in the background to the resolution, which discusses the other two ordinances that accompany,
Oh,
right?
Well, we've got Resolution 33 in our agenda packet, and inside the pages following Resolution 33.
Number
Okay,
5.
well, in any case, I have no
Five.
objection.
So
Okay,
that's why
I've got a second. She's got no objection.
I've got no objection.
I will clarify, Counselor Foss,
Yep.
as I read this memo, it does, the Historic Preservation Committee in the first section, which does not talk about the hours of operation.
Okay.
The second section talks about the permit delay regulations, and then the third section talks about the adaptive
So
use
this is
provisions.
all encompassing.
So that, this memo covers all three of those items coming up, but it doesn't pertain to this.
Then I'll strike my amendment.
Okay. And so was the second struck as well, assuming?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so I will move that we adopt, or that we go ahead with Resolution 33 to establish the committee. And we've been discussing this or tabling it for a number of months now, and or meetings. And I think part of the reason is exactly what Councillor Foss is pointing to, that some of the details in the ordinances are maybe not cooked yet. So I would propose that we ask the committee to fulfill the charge as listed here, as well as consider the two ordinances that we have and make some recommendations to council with some time to really consider in further detail. So that's my motion.
Second.
So if I can
So I mean,
clarify.
yeah.
The following two ordinances on the agenda, amend the zoning ordinance to permit adaptive reuses of historic properties, and to amend the building and electrical permit ordinance to create permit delays for historic properties. Those two items, you want this Historic Preservation Committee to review those and make recommendations to the council?
That's right. And I suppose I included in my motion is to table those.
We can get to those when we,
Okay,
yeah.
right, gotcha.
So we're just going to do 33 right now,
Right.
then we'll handle 34 and 35
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah, so the idea is that this is the work good for Waterville, and make any changes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to raise a point of order. It sounds to me like you're just speaking in favor of passing the resolution creating the committee.
Yes.
Yep.
So we don't really need a second motion for that. We
No.
just need to
No.
vote on the motion. So
Well, my amendment to the resolution was to add the charge of looking at those two ordinances.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's definitively defined, so.
And I got a second.
Yep.
Show of hands.
All in favor?
All in favor? I'm
Any
going
opposed?
roll call.
Any opposed?
So is there a motion to move as amended?
Move as amended.
Second.
All in favor? None opposed. All right.
Okay.
Moving on to ordinance 34, 2022.
Amend the zoning ordinance to permit adaptive reuses of historic properties.
Can we table this indefinitely right off the bat, or do we have to bring it up for discussion first?
Go ahead, motion.
You can table it if you want to table it to,
Until the committee has had time
until
to
the
review it.
committee has had time to review
So
it.
moved.
Second.
See how easy that was?
All in favor?
Claude,
Nope.
Was, oh,
Okay.
all in favor?
We're all getting used to this tonight.
He was getting ready for it.
I'm really not used to this. I don't think I've been at a meeting where everyone's here.
Nor
We're
have I.
like this
Yeah.
instead of on the square. Okay.
That makes sense.
Moving on to ordinance 35, 2022.
Amend the building and electrical permit ordinance to create permit delays for historic properties.
And I'm gonna make the same motion that we made last time.
Second.
All in favor? That'll vote.
This is awesome.
All right, moving on to order 66, 2022.
Amend Order 227-2021 regarding issuance of a general obligation bond.
Any discussion? Steve?
Just quickly, this is not required by law, but we put it here to clear the record so that historically, if people have to research this bond, they know that it was for this 4999000, not the 5287. You do have to vote on this twice, but the bond issuance is proceeding because the authorization that you previously gave allows for that.
All in favor?
Or you need a roll call on that one?
Is this the first or the second vote of this? one?
Second.
Then we do need a roll call on this.
Roll
then.
call, done deal.
Council
Back in.
Morris?
Back in it. I prefer the-
Yes.
Council DeBrito?
Yes.
Council Klepak? Council Green?
Yes.
Council Foss?
Yes.
Council Frankie?
Yes.
Council McCormick?
Yes.
Vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, moving on to new business. Resolution 69, 20.
Declaration of intent for bond issuance and general fund reimbursement.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Steve?
By way of explanation, this is a vote that you have to take so that any money we spend on projects or acquisitions prior to the bond being issued that were intended to be paid for through the bond will be paid that way without running into IRS issues.
Any other discussion? All in favor? None opposed. Order 70, 2022.
Authorize the use of capital reserve funds, Waterville Public Library.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Cindy, you want to tell us about it? I know, but I saw her sitting over there. She's uncomfortable. You were all alone.
And it sounds like they're throwing you under the bus.
They are. We have our ramp door project, which I think all of you are very much familiar with. It's been plaguing us for decades. And our insurance company's telling us that we need to take care of it as well. So we thought we were really doing a very good job with the bond 2 years ago. We got a cost estimator. We're the library. We did our homework. We thought we really knew exactly what the cost was going to be. And then the pandemic happened and the bids came in 3 times as high. Fortunately, that Andy, our city engineer, was a tremendous help, as well as Public Works, who have gone through and helped us. Matt has offered to have the Public Works folks do the demolition and site work at a much reduced cost, which we were thrilled about, because then Mike even shared with us as we were doing it that there's a drain that goes out Appleton Street that he would love to fix to now go out Elm Street. So we're actually doing a Public Works who knows the facility and knows everything underground, can fix even some more stuff, is basically it. And so between their help and Andy negotiating with the contractor we'd like you to approve, we got it down to 212 from 345 to 397, and we got it down to 312. 212, I mean, sorry. So we have
Oh, Tammy, maybe.
we have 112 left in our bond funding to pay for it, because we had a couple of our other projects go over budget that we just had to get done, and we all know how costs have gone. So we're $100,000 short, and we're asking for help, and we just need to get this done because We just need to get it done.
Steve,
Does
where's, oh,
anybody have
sorry.
any questions?
Yep. Steve, where's the money come from?
Money will come from the Capital Reserve Fund, where we have an unassigned fund balance of $1,000.
That was the only question I had. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
I just want to say, reading through the history on this, you did a great job bringing that cost down, and
Andy?
yeah, okay, thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
I'm gonna second that. Cindy, you've tried to drag me over there this year, and
Several times.
for the third year in a row now. If there's one department I never look at, it's yours, because I know that you'll do everything you can best for the taxpayer. So I never worry about you guys.
Thank you.
So I will come in and look at that mahogany, though.
Good, you have to. You have to. We're,
Anybody else? Claude?
Just want to echo Councilor Foss. Library is one of the jewels of the city, and the renovations that they've done are just outstanding. Not only the jewel, they're a shiny jewel now. Any idea when we might be able to let people back into the library?
I'm going to let Tammy take that one.
We are working on getting people into the library as soon as it's safe to do so. We have some building projects that we're wrapping up right now. Some of you have seen some of the work in the children's room that was a discovery in January where we had some bubbling paint. And we scrambled to get a contractor in that finished on Saturday. HG Winters will be coming in to do the flooring. The most significant challenge that is between us and having the public in is having appropriate staffing. We have had a number of health issues that have affected our staff. We've lost staff. And we just lost one of our best full-time staff to the market, who got lured to T-Mobile. There's no way that the library can compete with T-Mobile pay benefit package. We just put out ads for soliciting employees just in the last 48 hours, and I have 5 very attractive applicants for part-time positions. People are interested in participating in the enterprise of the library, and I'm very optimistic. So I swear we will get that place with people in it as soon as possible. But it has to be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Councilor
I
Clerk.
thought you all passed without asking questions. Anybody check out any of the pruners?
We have had a few checkouts of the pruners, not as many as we all would hope, but we did just do a promotional video that's getting good play, and we've gotten some checkouts since.
So I have one more thing.
Yes.
I would like I would like all of you to know that the library only was able to get all of its done is because we have an amazing director. Tammy's here tonight, but for her to shepherd all of these projects through, to be able to get them done during the pandemic when we were when we had to be closed anyway, was a monumental task, and I've really never seen anyone work so hard and was such a good partner to all the people that we worked with. All the vendors that we worked with, I get glowing responses from, they're just like, wow, we love working for the library. All those people are all so cooperative and everything. And I just want all of you to know that. Tammy's led a tremendous team to get a ton of work done, and I applaud her for that. Thank you.
All right. All in favor?
This is so weird.
We're going to have to figure out which ones are all in favor and roll calls again.
Resolutions and
Somebody
money.
got to stay home.
Resolutions and money.
All right. Moving on to Resolution 71, 2022.
Approve award for a contract for construction at the Waterville Public Library.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Patty.
Need a roll call on that?
Resolution? Money?
No. Hands.
Nope, hands,
Uh,
show of hands.
I was trying to listen to Foss.
It's okay.
He
listen
led
to
me
me.
the wrong way.
Since when have you listened to me?
All in favor?
Yeah, everyone,
They're all in
thank you.
favor. Let's see if we can get a 7 for 7 all night.
The first time you listen to me and we get it wrong.
Yeah. Just goes to show you. Resolution 72, 2022.
Approve bid award for Public Works equipment.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Matt, you want to give us some information?
Is this on? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Not used to speaking here. So yeah, I guess I'll take questions. You know, go ahead, Mr. Voss.
What are we trading in?
We're trading in our old single stream
Oh,
packer.
okay. All right, I thought we were trading in the dual packer that I
Right.
can't stand, but that's
No,
besides
but
the
now
point.
you won't notice that it's down.
Yeah, trust me, I watched the City of Waterville Facebook page. I know how much it's down.
You're going to a 4-day?
Well, if we're lucky enough to get this second dual packer, the lead time for getting the unit is about a year. So we won't have it before next February or March. At that time, with 2 dual packers, there's no question we'll be able to trim the pickup schedule to 4 days a week, eliminating the Monday holidays.
For the next 5 months, I'm gonna know how many times that thing's down.
Yeah, for the next 5 months, you gotta deal with it being down.
So, my question has to do with the problem of having only one dual packer on the road, because I know that's happened a lot, that it's been being repaired so that recycling gets picked up with trash. Will this help with that issue?
100%.
Yeah?
It
Okay.
will solve the problem.
Okay.
Right? It's very unlikely that 2 dual packers will be down at the same time.
Okay, but they're both going to be working 4 days a week?
No, just one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there'll be one that's just in reserve in case the other one's out. Got it. Okay.
Counselor Frankie.
What's the life expectancy for the dual packers?
6 to 8 years, 8 years being the max that you would want to hang on to it, so it has some trade-in value.
And having 2, would that extend it at all?
I'm sorry?
Having 2 packers, would that extend the lifetime?
It most likely would, right? Yeah, it would reduce on the wear and the mileage and the hours, so it should. So closer to that 8 years, probably.
Any other questions? I'm for it, Matt. We've had discussions. I understand that. I've watched it. I watched when we had the old trucks, and whenever they were down in service. The only difference is we tell people now. Nobody ever told us when one truck was down and the other one was going out. So the extra transparency has sort of shot us in the foot, but it's really what it's supposed to be. Once that other truck, it gets here in a year, we'll knock down one day. We'll go from 5 days of being on our roads to 4 days of being on our roads, which will help our roads. I mean, we've all seen, not against you, but I've seen those 3-bedroom potholes. We live in Maine. It is what it is. But that truck, you won't notice. We won't have to tell you, hey, we're not going to pick up your recycling. We're still going to pick up your recycling. It is what it is. Anyone else? Councilor Green.
This is a very minor point, but I'm just curious what the reason was to go with Freightliner.
Well, it's more not the Freightliner chassis, but it's the Heil Packer body. Heil has the exceptional track record in Packer dump bodies. They've been doing it since 1900. The current one that we have now, I won't mention the name of the model, but just since the mid-'80s, late '80s, 1980s. So closer service too. They're in Herman, so for parts and service, 45 minutes compared to Westbrook, which is about an hour and a half. We feel really good about if we're able to accept this bid, that this is going to be the best unit for us.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? Seven. Not opposed. Moving on to Resolution 73, 2022.
Authorize issuance of a victualer's license, Waterville House of Pizza.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Moving on to Resolution 74, 2022.
Appoint Michelle Prince to the American Recovery Plan Act, ARPA Committee.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Is she here?
No. 7. I love this.
Patty, you're not getting writer's cramp at all, are you?
No, it's perfect.
I didn't think so.
Moving on to Resolution 75, 2022.
Refer to the Planning Board, zoning amendment, 5 Middle Street and 72 Pleasant Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Steve?
I believe that I should assign the attorney that handled this issue or this property before, when it was put up for a contract zone under a different buyer, a different proposer, just to make sure that the recommendation that comes back from the planning board is consistent with its findings of the previous conversation. So I just want to let you know that I intend to do that.
Any other discussion? Oh, Counselor Frankie.
So you're suggesting then that the attorney that we use.
Is your microphone on?
Yes.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah. That our attorney will, the attorney we used will advise us, will advise the planning board to make sure we get our Ts crossed and our Is dotted?
I'm sorry.
That the attorney that we're hiring will make sure that we're doing everything appropriately, crossing all our Ts, dotting
Yes.
all our Is.
Yes, that would be the purpose of hiring that attorney.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor? Moving on to Ordinance 76, 2022.
Amend the zoning ordinance 54 College Avenue, 13 Maple Street, and a portion of 10 to 14 Maple Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Counselor Fox.
Thank you to the planning board for their pages, and I'm going to do that every time that they offer us exactly what we've asked for. So thank you for the planning board for pushing that information on.
Yeah, that was good info.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Steve, would you just summarize what this amendment involves?
Summarize what this particular item is about?
Yeah.
I believe this is the redevelopment of the manor property. Yes, and it's going to be 36 multifamily units in townhouse-type construction, spaced on 3 or 4 different lots that are right at that approach to the underpass on College Avenue. The architect's renderings of those buildings and the interiors that we've seen in sketches are very, very nice. They are not going to be high-end market rate, but it's being very well done. I think it is an entryway to the future of the North End.
All right. Counselor Klebeck.
Having seen those plans, did you happen to notice what the drainage tiling and grading, what was that sort of thing depicted in there? Because the thing that concerns me, the reason Manor House was,
Yeah.
the reason Manor House was vacated, I remember before I was on the council having a very stirring plea to the council by the woman who lived in that building, owned that building, about the health impacts on her family because that building was completely ravaged by black mold. And, you know, that's, properties here are prone to that, that do not have the correct, you know, we're on all this either shelf or clay, properties that do not have the correct drainage tiling that are on clay are prone to that kind of problem. And the only thing that I would be very keen to understand in that development is that that kind of problem does not happen again, particularly when it's in a facility for low income housing, right? So that's something that occurs to me. I don't want 15 years down the line here, a bunch of families that have, 36 families that have lived in a low income property development are having a problem because that site was not correctly drained and set up to prevent the kind of problems that have plagued that site in the past.
I will make certain that that is on our list of things to review.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else? All in favor? All right, moving on to ordinance 77, 2022.
Amend the zoning ordinance 146 Kennedy Memorial Drive.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Bill here? Nope. Nope. Can't wait to see what those apartments are gonna look like above there. That was all I got. All in favor? All right, moving on to resolution 78, 2022.
Authorize the city manager to sign contract for tennis and basketball court enhancements, North Street Recreation Area.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
I believe there's an amendment that I'd like to propose via Patty.
Yes. The amended amount is not to exceed $226,222. And that is an increase from $217,697. And it has been requested to add a line after the last sentence of the resolution to say the contract includes a price escalation clause in the event asphalt, fuel, transportation, and prices continue to increase.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the amendment?
I know, Matt, we've had a couple of discussions about it, and what I would like us to see before we go any further with this, what are the things we are going to be able to get away with doing this year as opposed to what we really originally wanted to get done? Because there are things that are not going to happen this year, and we need to know, it would be nice to know what they're going to be before we go any farther.
Okay,
And
we have an
continue
amendment
to-
on the table first.
Sorry.
So vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment?
And then can we move it as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Now you can ask a question. Right?
I'm just asking for us to get something of a detailed list, what we're gonna be able to do this year as opposed to what we're not gonna be able to do this year. I know they originally wanted to do all the basketball courts. It's not gonna happen. What are some of the other things that are going to be done as opposed to what we're not gonna be able to get done?
Okay.
So we know what to go after next year.
Steve, do you have an answer to that?
The Park and Rec Director and I have talked about that, and we're going to sit down and look at the priorities or prioritize the projects and then discuss it with the Recreation Committee so that we can lay out a reliable list of priorities insofar as the current inflation rates will allow us to do that. That's really what is affecting all of this. We budgeted according to the cost estimates about 10 months ago. And since then, we've all seen what has happened with inflation and in particular petroleum prices, which have a significant impact on any paving. We're going to have to look at the South End paving schedule also to make sure that we understand just how far we're going to be able to get with that.
Array Oil.
So, are you going to consider all the projects together? And not just the recreation projects, but, because
We would
it
have
would seem the
to.
whole package should be considered, the roads and sidewalks as well as.
I think what we should do is look at the paving as one issue and then the playgrounds as a separate issue. If we start overlapping them or combining them, we could create a list of things that doesn't satisfy anybody. I think we need to keep those things in their lanes.
Right, if I may, so we're opening bids for the paving March 29th, and each of the streets is itemized separately, so we will have the ability to kind of go through that list based on the number to maybe determine which streets are the worst and which ones need it most, and put those at the top of the list, so.
But if you don't get to them this year, are we getting to them next year?
Streets? If there's money to do it, I would say yes.
No, I think what he means is if Street A doesn't get done this year, is Street A at the top of the list for next year?
It should be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've looked at these as separate issues since we started this over a year ago. Rick was there, former council chair was there. We spent a lot of time trying to make sure that the south end was going to get the treatment that it deserved, that it has not gotten in decades. I'm not willing to compromise on that stance. You with me?
Yep, absolutely, 110%.
Just making sure.
Yep, 110%.
Those roads are important. Counselor Frankie.
Well, while it is very important to get the work done, the roads, as well as the recreation equipment, I would point out that with the, as Director Scan says, with the increase in cost, the amount that we've budgeted may not go as far as we would like it to go. So to Councilor Foss's point, we may need more money in next year in order to get done what we had hoped to get done this year.
I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that we don't neglect those roads because we decided we're not going to turn the rest of those streets into the tennis courts. We're going to take care of the stuff that we have before it deteriorates to nothing.
I'm also concerned with the you put money forward to have the plumbing work done, water work done, things like that before the hot top stuff gets done. Do we need to look at those also?
Well, yeah, because I don't blame Public Works for
I'm
the
not
roads.
blaming anybody. I'm just
You look at the
looking
roads that we
fact
have
is-
right now, everywhere it's broke is where they put in that pipeline. I mean, you follow that natural gas pipeline, that is where all of those 2 and 3 bedroom potholes are. There's no denying it. I saw someone on West River Road, next day, they were gone. So thank you, Matt, for what you and your people are doing.
Yes.
But I just want to make sure that we're taking care of our stuff so that we don't end up desolate and destitute later. Go ahead, Mike.
So, back to the tennis courts and whatnot. Huge response from the pickleball crew. I know that we're not getting the 6 courts that we anticipated or struck out to at the beginning of this journey. We're going to just redo the 4 that we have. Can we make sure that 1 or 2 of those are striped for these
Right.
folks?
Court 4 will be striped for pickleball.
Okay, perfect.
Here's a fun game. All right. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Matt. Let's see. Resolution 78, 2022. No, we just did that. 79, 2022.
Approve main PERS plan change for Waterville police officers.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Steve, some background?
Pardon me?
Some background on that? For the listeners.
Main PERS,
What about it?
some background on it.
Oh, this,
Like, what do you mean, what about it?
What
You
city
put it
council
here.
tonight?
I walked over to say something to Councilor Frankie, and somebody else was talking, and I was amazed at how loud the speakers are over there. These speakers don't work. So it's extremely difficult on top of things that I have to deal with to hear you over here.
Do you want me to speak up so you can hear me?
Just don't throw anything.
Is the hearing aid Bluetooth?
That's a story. This is the follow-through on the police, the police contract, both police contracts, in fact, to sign them up for the level of the state retirement system that you agreed to in their collective bargaining agreements. This is a ministerial act for all intents and purposes. You've already signed you've already approved the contract, and this is follow-through.
Any other discussion? Counselor Frankie.
Well, just to make sure everybody understands that we, in the collective bargaining agreement, we agreed with the police unions to move our police officers into a better retirement system. The state has two systems, the old system, which was kind of fixed, and then the new system that has cost of living escalators in it. So we're putting our folks in the new system. It's the same system that we put the firefighters in last year.
Nice. Even playing field. Anyone else? All right, all in favor? All
You
right.
got this down pat.
Resolution 80, 2022.
Appoint election clerks.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I have one thing to say about this.
Yep.
When I campaigned for this council seat, I love a well-distributed city council, and I love a well-distributed election officials. And the disparity of the different parties, I'll leave it at that, the lopsidedness. I would love for more Republicans, more independents to step forward and be election clerks.
It is grossly lopsided.
43 Democrats to 20 Republicans and 7, I believe that's unenrolled, if I'm not mistaken, the
Yep,
you.
you.
Again, a good, well-balanced election clerks would be fantastic.
You better tell your party to show up.
So that's why I'm putting it out there. So, yep.
Councilor
Patty,
Green.
what's involved in becoming an election clerk?
Anyone who's interested can reach out to me. I meet with them and talk a little bit about what, they'd be required to do. Basically, we do require a mandatory training before each election that we generally hold on the Thursday before Election Day in the evening from 5 to 7. And we try to work people in, we ease them in, we show them kind of the easier jobs and start them out there and move up from there. So we're happy to have more Republicans come forward. We're required to keep a balance between the two parties at the polls, and it's always a difficult time in achieving that balance when we have so few Republicans coming forward. So yeah, anyone that's interested though, please reach out. We'd be happy to talk with you.
Absolutely.
Councilor Frankie.
When you're working as an election clerk, is there any politicking involved?
No, we're really non-biased. Where the balance of the parties is there to maintain the integrity of the process, but it's not a political position, if you will.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor? We are all sevens across the board.
Ranking tonight.
Let's see, council committees. Councilor Frankie. Oh, that is my fault. Hold on. She is correct. Public comment. I don't see anybody online. Anybody here with public comment? Council committees.
Someone's online.
Oh, who's online? I can't see it.
You wanna borrow my glasses?
Oh, Nancy Sanford. Can we bring her in? No, I don't want to see the moon. Quite good in here.
What?
Says you want to borrow my glasses. I don't want the moon.
Hi.
Hi, Nancy.
I'd just like to ask, as I've emailed several folks, if the manager's report could go back to being at the beginning of the council meeting as opposed to the end of it. And the reason that I liked it at the beginning of the meeting is because then if I or any other public person, citizen had a question or a comment about something in the report, then we could do it during public comment. And so I was wondering if there was some reason that it's been switched back to the end of the meeting.
Nancy, I put it at the front today.
Yeah, was that the whole report? Because
Yes,
then I
ma'am.
heard, It was, okay. All right, good. I thought I heard, Steve say he'd talk more about things later, and I took that to mean that there was more to the report, but if I was incorrect, that's good.
No, we're good. Steve did his little, it was mostly about him selling his house in Massachusetts
Right.
and not being
Yes,
a fake Mainer. So we've got him now. We sort of ours.
Right, that's good. All righty, thank you.
You're welcome, Nancy. Anyone else? All right, council committees. Councilor Green, and then Councilor Frankie, sorry.
So I just want to let everyone know that the ARPA committee has finalized an application form for outside agencies in Waterville to apply for funding. This is not actually for the ARPA funds themselves. This is for the $50,000 that the council set aside in the budget to support nonprofit agencies. The ARPA fund application will be coming soon, but they are different. They have different criteria, and there will be a separate application. But for all agencies out there who are have a 501c3 status or a fiscal sponsor, you can apply for these funds, and there's a link on the website. I think it's on the left side under the news, and then you go to the committee page, and you have to find the ARPA committee and then click the link to the right of that. And there's a frequently asked questions sheet there as well, and a number to call if you have any questions. And I believe that person to call is our new assistant city manager, who I thought I saw here, but he's not here anymore.
Because he just disappeared.
Yeah. Anyway, spread the word, because we do have a tight timeline. Applications are due by the 8th of April, and then we're going to make our decision by the middle of May. So.
Thank you, Councilor Green. Councilor Frankie.
The Solar Committee met recently, and we it was with including our consultant Charlie Agnew. Randy Marshall gave an update of the Synergy project at the airport. The administrative reels, the approvals at all regulatory agencies have been turned, and the trees have been cut. The lease is now in effect, and the first payment on the lease has been received. Construction may begin in the summer or the fall. As far as the impact on the trails in the area, the Parks Director and the Airport Director are considering a meeting, holding a meeting for general comments. Another project at the Webb Road at the end of the airport is also moving forward. That project is on city land that was leased several years ago, but is now leased to another company. Mr. Agnew explained that one of the net energy billing projects that the city engaged in last spring is having some difficulty and may not get built. If that project is not built, there's no obligation on the part of the city. The other two net energy billing projects do appear to be moving forward, and there could be a substantial reduction in the city's energy costs.
Thank you, Councilor Frankie. Councilor Paul.
I got a question for the Solar Committee. Either Councilor Frankie or Steve can answer this. The three-phase that's gotten installed on Webb Road goes right by the landfill. And I know that the landfill connection was the stumbling block that they had prior. Has that been reviewed and looked at and resolicited and all that good stuff? Because that connection is wicked short now.
That's the reason that the earlier project is now going forward. It's on a new company has bought the rights to that, and
On the landfill?
on the landfill.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome.
That is good news. Any other councilors? All right, now councilor comments.
That's a motion to adjourn.
Ta-da!